Shanti and good morning. So we are continuing the Murli that we have started 2 days back. And yesterday, Baba shared with us that in the new year and all the newness and the way that we should treat ourselves in this new year, Baba mentioned that there are three areas of contentment. To be content with ourselves, to be content with Baba, and to be content with the family. And Baba stressed that there will be challenges, but we need to be strong and in the year of tapasya to make intense effort in achieving this and at the same time in achieving our aim. So today we are going to see the last part of this Murli and finish that portion of this particular Murli. So we start from where we left off, page 153. So Baba starts with Acha. The gathering of the Kumaris is sitting here. So there must have been some program where the Kumaris were there. Baba is looking at them. And as we know that Baba gets inspired based on the scene or the song or something like that. So that was the scene. Baba is not very focused on the present. Baba says to them, you have been given the chance of sitting in the front. Why have you been given this chance? You constantly have to remain in the front. This is why you have been given a chance to sit in front. Do you understand? Emerge as the ripened fruit. Do not fall raw. Be the ripened fruit. So you have to ripen on the tree itself. Have you ripened or are you still raw? No. Will all of you finish the study and go to the center, or will you return home? You will go to the center. Is this firm? Or will you say that you will go home for a month or two? Or will you say that you will first go home for a month or two? What will you do? If your mother and father tell you to come, will you not go? Will you upset them? If you have courage, no one can be stopped by anyone. If there is a little attraction, then you can be stopped. Then you can be stopped. Yeah. Everyone has come running to celebrate the New Year. To celebrate the New Year means to make time new, to bring about spiritual newness in you at all times. Will you celebrate the New Year in this way, or will you just celebrate tonight? Acha. The loving and cooperative children in all four directions have sent special remembrance from their hearts and through letters and cards, knowing the importance of this day. And these have reached Bapdada even before they were posted. They arrive beforehand. As soon as you have a thought, it reaches Baba. This is why, although cards from many children and cooperative souls will arrive later. Bab Dada gives congratulations to celebrate the new year and the new day beforehand. When there is a special program, what do people of today do? They switch on their television and sit in front of it. And so all the spiritual children are sitting with the television of their intellect switched on. Today, Bab Dada is responding at every second with the blessing of congratulations to all the children who are worthy of congratulation. The blessing of love and remembrance increase the zeal and enthusiasm in the hearts of the children at all times. Therefore, constantly make yourself into an easy effort maker, a constant effort maker, and a worthy soul who files with attainment, who flies with attainment, and who progresses through accurate effort. Therefore, constantly make yourself into an effort maker, a constant effort maker, and a worthy soul who flies with attainment and who progresses through accurate effort. Elevated congratulations to such worthy souls who make the present like that of the Father and who make the future the embodiment of success. Bab Dada's love, remembrance, and namaste. Greetings from Bab Dada to all the children for the year 1992. New Year means the year to constantly give and receive. To constantly give and receive congratulations. Be a master bestower and bestow one or another power of virtue and have good wishes and pure feeling. Do not have any thought of taking. To receive something and then give something is not called blessing. That is called a business. You are the master bestower, the children of the bestower. Whether someone gives or doesn't give, you have to give. Whether someone gives or doesn't give, you have to give. If someone gives you something which you do not like, what will you do then? Do not accept that. That is, do not keep it with yourself in the sense that, okay, this is something that has been given, then you can put it aside. You don't have to carry it with you. But definitely give them something in return. Don't think that one has given me a stone, so what should I give in return? Set aside the stone and give a jewel instead, because you are the children of Baba, the jeweler. So, in the new year, bring into your life the special aim of giving and receiving blessing at every second. Just as was sung in the song just now, you said goodbye to the old sanskars. So, did all of you say goodbye? Who said goodbye? Did you say Tata to them very well? Or will they emerge again? Acha. So congratulations for having said goodbye. When anything comes up in front of you, remember this promise. I have already said bye-bye. So how can I shake hands with them? Just give them a vision of good wishes and pure feelings from a distance. Acha. So we'll have some silence and then we can share our thoughts of the last part of this Murli. Shanti. So we can now share our thoughts and any clarification from what Baba said today.
Om Shanti.
Shanti.
Yeah, thank you, Baba. Thank you, Arif Bhai. Today, Baba said that the easy effort maker and constant effort maker. So that the clarification, if you can, on spotlight on that.
Hmm.
Yeah, Om Shanti.
Shanti.
Another point is Baba said, say goodbye to old sanskars. So the new year is coming. So, and say bye bye to the old weaknesses and the sanskars. And once you have said goodbye, right, do not shake hands with them again. So, which means we have to remember our promise that we said bye bye to the old sanskars. So this is also sometimes happens, right? Like we don't wish those sanskar to emerge again, but yes, some of them become deep rooted, and then it takes time. So when I was saying this, I remember one thing that when somebody walked into to the center and then began the journey of understanding this knowledge, and then he realized that okay, there he has to transform his old sanskars, and he can get away with anger and some of the bad sanskars. But um, when he started interacting with people who are in center and some of the senior folks, and when he saw that even after doing so much of tapasya and so much of experience in knowledge, still some of them are unable to give up their some of their old sanskars. So, and he was, the new person had that concern. So, since they themselves have not transformed, even after spending so many years in knowledge, so how will that help me and transform my sanskar? So, some would some sanskar transformation is always a challenge. I think if you can throw more light how one can transform these sanskars. Like some of them, we say it is a very deep rooted one, and we will say it is gone, but some situation sometimes it pops up. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yes. We'll touch on that as well. Yes. Any other one? Anybody else who would like to share? Maybe if you can't speak, you can type on the chat box.
Shanti, brother.
Om
So,
Shanti.
Baba says those who throw stones at you, you should still be able to be good to them. That's a take-home message. That we should be also giving something in return. We should not be just keeping everything with ourselves. Uh, we should just not be on the receiving end. So in this time, the giving should be a good one.
Mm.
So one that actually can transform them.
Mm.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Om Shanti.
Yeah. So that if you will give those who give you, then that is not being a bestower. That is business. So we need to give everyone, and whoever is in front of you, and those who are not in front of you, good wishes and pure feeling at all times. That was very, very powerful. Um, because in the world today, the world wants to take from you. And when people, sometimes even by force, or they want to give, but what they want to give is full of selfishness, full of neediness. And because Bhavan understands that everybody is empty at this point of time, um, Baba's instruction is to follow him because he doesn't need anything, but he gives us so much. And he says that since you are a child of a bestower, you should also do the same, no matter what that person gives you or doesn't give you. And even in extreme situation gives you stones, we still have to give jewels back because we are children of the jeweler. And so this is very powerful exercise. It's very simple exercise, but constantly, if we keep in mind that whoever we meet today, whatever they are, um, is my reaction or my action of giving or wanting something. And in the world, there is a lot of greed, and people want a lot. But in the spiritual life, there are subtle things that we need also, in the sense that recognition, in the sense of praise, in the sense of acknowledgement. There are so many subtle things in the sense of good behavior from other that also is needy. You know, if I'm expecting others to behave good to me, that's my need. Yeah. So we need to check even this subtle neediness. If I want something to be in a certain way, that also is my need. And the checking is very simple. Am I able to be flexible and accepting every moment as it is? Or there is some moment that I become irritated with, or I cannot stand, or some facility, if it is not available, something happens. You go for a talk and the sound system is not very good. Then what do you do? Okay. Or the preparations are not done. Then what do you do? Sometimes you can see that, right? Things are not happening on time. Yeah. Then what happens to your stage? That is also kind of neediness, no? So it's a very beautiful subject. I thought I'll just elaborate on that. Yes, we have one more suggestion also, which we will take up if there is anybody else who wants to share something before that.
So we say that those who are giving stones also shower with roses or do good for that. Because doing good is not a challenge. But if there is something which comes as stone or people just are rejecting or not accepting things, and even if you keep on doing things, the world today is like I always have this kind of an experience that we are ready to accept the love that your pets give you. okay? But when your own people give you or shower love to you, you, if you don't want it, or one is you don't want it, second is you have always a doubt in your mind, why is this person doing certain things for me? What is the hidden agenda in doing that? Now, these are all impure thoughts. How do one deal with these things, even if you may not want to do things around, but the way it is being received in the world, uh, at times ask you to withdraw from doing things or just be silent about it?
Yes, I can imagine these kind of situation that you have said. They are very, there are plenty of situations which are like that. So I do not have a need for them to accept. I don't have a need for them to acknowledge also, or I don't have a need even if it is rejected. Basically, the way Baba's instruction is that this giving or bestowing is part of my nature, and I don't get stuck in between whatever the situation is. There is one thing that is quite usual, that sometimes it's my need to give also. You get that? Sometimes we are needy that we want to give, but if somebody doesn't want, then why is it that I'm giving?
Yeah,
That clarity should be there, you know. So Baba often says that you feel the pulse and see what's the need of the person. If, sometimes we are in an interaction and we go into so much details, but this person doesn't want those things. Of course it will not mean anything for them. So we used to say that if there is a thirsty, give them water. If there is a hungry, give them food. If a thirsty person you give food and the hungry person you give water, that's not going to work. So we should be able to feel, you know, bestowing doesn't mean that, we take the treasure and start throwing everywhere. We have to see where is it that, and sometimes, what I notice in my experience is to give in silence. We don't have to give in words. These things usually happens when we start to enact things. Sometimes we can give a lot in silence. The main part is for me is that I am content and I am peaceful and I am satisfied with myself. The moment that happens, then everything else can happen very easily. Otherwise, fluctuations will come in so many different ways to test. So basically, the measure is no matter what happens, I am stable in my religion. I am stable in my peace. I am working with him, through him, and he's the one who's doing everything. And I am not, part of that. Okay, in the sense that there's no reaction from my side. Baba is doing this. Baba knows what he's doing. And this is instruction from him now. So when I follow his instruction, I'm doing what he wants me to do. But allow him, you know. So I'm detached from whatever their reaction is. Yeah. It is not easy.
yeah,
But
indeed, it is not. It is
yeah,
not.
but at the same time, we have to keep this perspective clear that no matter what, I am not a taker in the sense that I do not have any expectation about other people's behavior, and they will not affect me. Even 5 times if they bring stones, then they're just going to receive the same reaction from my side, because that's where patience, tolerance comes in. Yeah. So we have to be, like this month's Avyakt signals to be the virtue of easiness and tolerance. Very, very beautiful, this, and very powerful. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't be hard on others. Just be able to be easy, but at the same time have tolerance. Okay, to see the limit, you had to have so much patience. Yeah, this is what I would see it like that. And yeah, sometimes we sleep, but you have to get up and keep
I
going.
think slipping is also a part of the process. You just cannot be perfect all the time, and you need not have to be,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
only when you see what's happening in front of you, you would know
yeah,
where you have reached.
yeah,
And I remember there are a
yeah,
few Murlis where Baba says that देने वाला दे रहा है, पर तुम ले क्यों रहे हो?
yeah,
You are not a taker, as you mentioned. You're not a taker.
yeah, yeah,
You're always a giver. But also be subtly present to that space, that in the space of giving, your ego is not surpassing you over your quality of giving. You
yeah.
never know when your ego takes on that giving space. अरे मैं तो देने वाला ही
Exactly,
हूँ, no? So
exactly,
uh,
exactly.
that's there. And having patience and tolerance to stay in that space of silence and giving, because you have an innate quality of probably looking at giving, and uh, probably it's not been taken in the way your intention is, whatever could be the reason. And just be silent, withdraw. And as we discussed yesterday, let's pause, let the water get still,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
and don't
So,
hold on to that space of giving. Just let it go. If it is
yeah,
meant to be that way, it is meant to be that way.
that's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And but every moment be aware that what's there and what is going on inside me while this situation comes in, which is very
ex
important.
exactly, exactly. Let's say, for example, I'm irritated or there is peacelessness. At that time, if I'm giving, what will go? The peacelessness only will go, no? My words will be different, but my energy is peaceless. My energy is fear. My energy is irritation. If I say anything with that good thing, there will be that vibrations also. So when I'm in that state, just be in silent, come back to your stability, and then you can speak. You know, there was a very nice story about a brave warrior who is, there is a fight that is going on, you know, and he defeats the opponent, and he's about now to, finish the opponent, and the opponent is on the ground. And what happens is this person, during this last moment, is giving him a very good test. He spits on the warrior, you know. So the guy was already under the clutches of this guy, and he was going to finish him. And he stepped away. He stepped away. And then he came back, and then he finished him. And then people asked him, "Why did you step away?" He said that if I had killed him after him spitting on me, it would be my anger. And now it is my duty. So the second moment when he stepped on, he removed all the feelings about what he's done. Okay. So it's a very cryptic and very interesting story of how we deal with situation. So if I'm doing something good, or I think perceive it to be good, but the energy is not right, then I need to come out first, balance the energy, and then come back. There's no point in doing something in that energy. So this is a nice thing to remember. So with the brother's question earlier, transforming um, of all the sanskars, we see people and we see observe them, we observe ourselves, and we notice that we are trying to do our practice diligently. We are giving so much attention, and still we have sometimes or some situations whereby we are defeated. So I think it is good to remember a few things or what I found to be useful for me. So number one is that everyone is work in progress. There might be 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, whatever. Tests do come and they have to learn from the whatever they notice. So we don't start being perfect. Baba comes and sees that we are impure and then purifies us. So we accept. There's no point in not accepting. But at the same time, there's another thing that helps me a lot, which is basically looking at sanskars, but not owning those sanskar. So whenever I notice that there is still some sanskars that is there, then I will notice it, but I will not take ownership of those. For instance, when let's say, for example, due to any reason, if there is anger that comes, whatever the vice that comes, um, and it's very clear that it has happened, something that I know, but I don't want to take ownership. This is the old me operating through me, but I'm not taking ownership of that. And therefore, I can guide, I can help myself. The moment I start taking I into the sanskar, the old sanskar, then it's very difficult. So I separate myself, not that I tell somebody opposite that, oh, that's old sanskar. No, not as an excuse, but just an understanding that there is something that has crept into my awareness, which is not part of this awareness, the pure awareness. And so what I do is that I recognize first that this is something that is come from the old, which I have already said goodbye. And I don't want to give it more power. Okay, that's one thing. Second thing is practical responsibility. Okay, having said that, this is not mine. How am I going to deal with this in the future? You know, how is it that what is it that I need to do? And so, like I said yesterday, to do the routine, wake up, Amrit Vela, Murli, read, chant, do all the instruction, sometimes is not sufficient. When we are in practical life, we need also to be very practical and to change our behavior. And that there are some help and skills to do that. Okay. So many people get into the trap thinking that, this is going to happen. It doesn't happen. We have to work on them. Okay. And when I say this, I don't mean that we have to go and check each and every weakness that we have and, start working on each one, because there is lots. We don't need to dig them, but if we are aware that there is a weak area, then we have to find a practical way to manage that. If we keep repeating those same things, obviously they will not go away. So acknowledging, accepting, not giving it, like, don't take ownership of it, and then find practical means whereby you can create a change. So let's take an example of anger. I noticed that in such situation, when at this moment after having knowledge, the angers will come in a very subtle way. Like, for example, if you see somebody is being mistreated, you know, something happens inside, and then you become angry in that situation. Like it's nothing to do with you, but you feel that something is unfair. Okay. So usually what happens is before you realize that you feel that you are already part of that and you are angry on something. Or sometimes on yourself, something does something and you feel that this is not to be done, this is not right. Okay. Then that might erupt, but that is still a sanskar of anger. That's not your sanskar. Okay. So if that is not my sanskar, and I know that every time this happens, then I need to find somebody to help me to understand that what is it that is still a void inside me, because we all have story, and because of this story, there are some sanskars that are there, but sanskars are very deep. Okay. Maybe there is some situations in my life that created disbelief, and I need to remove that disbelief. And sometimes the belief is that we should not lie. They appear to be good kind of beliefs. Life should be fair. We should be, everybody will be fair. These are only beliefs. These are not the truth, you know, and triggers comes from there, you see. So we need to be, I think, alert on this, and we have to have practical way to manage these things for ourselves. For other people, we can't do much, but we have to be example. So changing sanskars doesn't work because we don't follow it up till the end. Okay, it is there. We might have plus like hit and miss, but in order to be consistent, we need to put up a practical plan and see that our behavior now is changing. Okay, because the thing that is quite obvious is your behavior. You can't miss that. And when you're angry, you know that you're angry. And of course, to catch the subtle one before it becomes big. Okay. So these are few things that I personally practice and might be useful, for others as well. And maybe you can share your way of how you manage all sanskars. But all sanskars are there. It will be there with the seniors. It will be there with juniors. It will be there with everybody. But Baba says we are in the showcase now. We are the ones that they are looking up onto. So if we don't change, then, it's difficult for others to change. So I hope this is useful for you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So understanding that I'm going through that deep sanskar, that realization is required very much, right? And also we should, I suppose creating a chart will also help, right? Because that's where we'll have a checkpoint to see where I stand. And I've also heard this, maybe uh, you might have heard the youth wing, right? So Brahma Kumaris have a youth wing. So I happened to see their exhibition. So there, I remember one thing that they have posted in their exhibition there. So every time we feel that any of our sanskars is coming even against our conscious wish, and then when we try to conquer them, right? So every time we conquer them, we have to celebrate. Okay, I conquered this time. So that will create some sort of a dopamine inside us, and that will help us to conquer that, it seems. Some psychology they are saying. So this is actually for de-addiction. They have a exhibition separate. So in that they have mentioned.
Yes. Now there is a lot of exhibition on that. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. So every time you see you have any heart and scar which you are not able to conquer it, and then You create a chart, and also every time you conquer it, you celebrate it. That celebration will definitely help you, it seems. So it's kind of inside some, I don't know what's that saying, from some psychology. Yeah, thank you so
Yes,
much.
it is there, and it just reminds me a question that was asked of on the first class. How did Baba celebrate New Year? So I did check a little bit, and I found out that they used to do a few things. They used to have silence in the New Year. So people would be in silence and contemplative and very deep, you know. So whenever there was New Year, they would celebrate this, and they would offer bhog in the early days. So the celebration was to be in silence and deep meditation and to celebrate with offering Baba. These are the two things that uh, I could pick up. And the third thing was to bury the old things that were not of use from the previous year, and then celebrate. So, like you said, no, if we have victory, we can celebrate by in a right way as well. Because celebration can mean anything.
Yeah,
So,
that create that inner pleasure, right? When we are celebrating, yeah, I conquered one of my old sanskar. So every time we
yeah.
celebrate that itself will create another sanskar.
Yeah, yeah. Don't go to the mall and buy things.
Yeah.
Celebrate it in. You see, the thing is, we are so much stuck into the old, you know. So this old idea that, yes, we don't overindulge in anything, So sometimes we use that as well, but that's not. It has developed to become like this today in the family. But this is not really. Yes, they used to, eat, and they used to, meet and all that. But there was a lot of energy of love in all these things. So that energy is important, not just, that we don't go for the food, or we go for that company and that feeling, so that other people can feel as well. So this becomes as an excuse to bring people together, like that. So celebration in Brahmin life is quite different from the world. But yes, I can understand, to acknowledge and your victory. But we have victory guaranteed. So, yeah. So let's have a minute before we close. And if there is any announcement after that. Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Arif Bhai. Thank you, Divine Family. We shall connect again tomorrow. Until then, all have a beautiful day. Om Shanti.